Hey Chaos Crew, welcome back to another thrilling episode of Minxy's Mischief Hour. Today I have a fantastic guest with me, someone who wears many hats: editor, podcaster, YouTuber, gamer, actor, and musician. The incredibly talented Dylan, also known as Mr. Rios. Dylan has been a musician for over 15 years, an actor for a little bit less than that, and has been editing videos since the days of Windows Movie Maker. He's here to talk about his latest venture, the Makeshift Tavern, and share some exciting projects on the horizon. Welcome, Dylan.
Thank you, Minxy. It's good to be here. I do really like that little touch. The talented. I don't know if I'd agree, but sounds good anyway.
Oh, I think you're multi-layers of talented. Speaking of, I do actually want to hear about the Makeshift Tavern. I want to know everything about it. So what is it? How did it come to be?
Okay, so the Makeshift Tavern is a project that me and a couple of close friends have been doing for about 2 years now, just over 2 years, I think. And it's basically, I don't know, I kind of describe it as an online tavern, I guess. We started off years ago, because I've been a bartender for years. You know, I know how to mix drinks and that sort of stuff. And my friend, not a bartender whatsoever, and he had an idea of doing this series where a bartender competes with a non-bartender to make cocktails. And then from that, we decided, like, yeah, this is a great idea. I'm an editor, I can do all the videos. He's like, yep, sweet, brilliant. And another friend of ours was involved at the time. And so we went to their place and we shot like a pilot episode in the kitchen. And we didn't have a name for it yet. And so we were going through, we'd making it happen, and it was all very makeshift. And it wasn't until later on, my friend's partner said, that was, what about the Makeshift Tavern? We're like, that's perfect. That explains everything we're doing. It's all just off the cuff makeshift. And from there, we were talking about doing things on YouTube. And in the meantime, my friend set up a TikTok account for the Makeshift Tavern and was posting videos on there almost daily. And we made a series called Makeshift Drinks, where it's kind of D&D inspired. So we'd roll dice and we'd have a list of ingredients, and then we'd put those ingredients into a cocktail and see if it was any good or if it was absolutely trash. And that got a bit of steam, and then we found another group, like a community of people that started doing this a little bit after us, and around the same time. And we made a lot of friends, and then it kind of blew up. And so the account got massive numbers of following. We're like, all right, sweet. Now let's move into the YouTube and into the YouTube. God, that's a bit long. And we decided to start doing longer form, like bigger things, more editing, more, I guess, kind of production value. And yeah, so we've been doing that. We've been doing the Makeshift Tavern for about, just over 2 years. And we've been doing YouTube since the start of the year. And we've got different things where, like, we do the original idea of what we call cocktail PvP, where we're making cocktails, but it's basically player versus player. It was going to be pro versus pleb. And we have our own podcast on there as well, called Over a Barrel, where me and him, his name is Edward, where me and Edward talk about anything and everything over a barrel. Like, physically we have a barrel and 2 chairs, and that's it.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, and we've been doing that. We've just started moving into the gaming side as well. So we created a second channel called the Makeshift Tavern Gaming, which isn't doing as well as we'd hoped at this point. But, we're all very small fry, all very,
You heard that, everybody. Dylan needs some more followers, so you know where to go.
Yes, if any of you would like to come over and see the stupidity, it's the Makeshift Tavern and the Makeshift Tavern Gaming on YouTube. Yeah.
So you're PvP. Now you're the one that's the actual bartender. Your friend does not have bartending experience. I would hope like crazy in one way, shape or form that you've won a majority of these competitions or face-offs. Is that correct, or would I be making an incorrect assumption?
I mean, I was hoping the same thing, but since we had this idea, he's in charge of the TikTok side of things. I'm in charge of the YouTube side of things. He's had like a year and a half of experience making different cocktails and experimenting and all that sort of thing. So his knowledge has grown exponentially since we started the idea. So it's gotten to the point where there'll be a couple of cocktails that neither of us know, and it's all just do what we can, and we get pretty even. But he's been doing pretty well. I think he might have won a majority of them, maybe. There are a couple when I nail 100%. But yeah, my bartending muscles have kind of dipped in the past years because I took a bit of time off. I quit bartending for about 8 or 9 months to pursue editing full time. So I kind of maybe lost my mojo a little bit.
So the Makeshift Tavern, so there's Edward. How many others are there in the whole little group of you guys that do that?
So just give me a second. My cat is scratching at the door. What? All right. Yeah, come in.
Well, now we have to talk about the cat. I'm pretty sure we have to talk about that cat.
Yeah, we of course. Her name is Gur. If there's any Invader Zim fans out there, my cat is named after the stupid little robot. And she could hear us talking, so she wants to be in the room.
Oh, that's okay. She can come chat with us.
Don't attack me. God, give me a second. Sorry, she's hooked my sleeve.
No problem.
So, the Makeshift Tavern consists of 3 of us at the moment. So that's myself, Edward, and Aaron, who is Edward's partner. And the tavern itself is a set that we built up in his shed. So it's at his place. It's a little thing we go into. It looks very makeshift, but we've lined the shed, bookshelves filled with alcohol, a couple of barrels around, and yeah, it really lends its name to itself, the Makeshift Tavern, which is great.
That's brilliant. So you have to then, I'm assuming, have a particular favorite moment or episode from the Makeshift Tavern. Something that you guys have done that's like, if I tell someone about this, I'm telling them about this part first, something stupid that we did. What's like the big favorite moment?
Oh, the big favorite moment. The episodes have been really good. One that I do really like to tell is there was an episode where we had to make a Moscow Mule. And a Moscow Mule is fairly simple, and it's one that I remembered straight away from my bartending days. And I nailed it, 100%. And then there's always that banter between us of me gloating. It's like, I got 100%. And then, of course, the next episode, I need to make reference to the fact that I got 100%. And just really push it in. So things like that. I don't know if there's like a real one defining moment, because it's beautiful. It's just getting to really screw around with one of your best friends, and you just get to film it and then edit it all together. So yeah, to pinpoint one thing,
I really like that. That just seems so fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Sorry, my cat is just being really annoying. In, out. I'm just going to leave the door open for her. Yeah.
So, I'm loving hearing about the tavern. I'm definitely going to check all of the socials out very shortly. But I know you as a musician and an actor before anything else. So I want to jump into a little bit of that. So I'll start with a little bit of the music. With being a musician, can you share some highlights from your music career?
Oh, definitely. There's a lot of highlights in my music career. where do I start? I think, so for a little bit of context, I play drums in a number of bands. Two of which are my own bands. We all play originals, and there's another band that I contract myself to, and that's a blues band. And one of the greatest moments I had was when the blues band was on tour around Australia, and we were playing in a place in Tasmania. It was, I can't remember the name of it, but it's a massive music store in Devonport. And we were opening up the night, like we were the first act on, and we were supporting an artist called Kevin Borich. And now, anyone who's under 50 probably won't know who Kevin Borich is. I didn't know until I met him, but he's this amazing blues artist, guitarist, singer. Might get this wrong, I think he's from New Zealand. Could be wrong, but amazing guy. And we got there, and we've been doing this tour off our own back. So we're in this car with like minimal gear, and so I'm playing on this really just slimmed down drum kit that's like got two or three drums and like two cymbals, so not massive. And we get to this place, and we're using the house kit, and it's a music store. So they've got equipment everywhere. And so I'm sitting down behind this kit, and it's the biggest thing I've ever seen. And I felt like a kid in a candy store. Like, I was playing everything I could. There was toms, there was cymbals, just everything galore. And like, we're in the middle of a set. I've played these songs 1,000 times already. I already know how they're supposed to go. And so everything else, I'm just like, oh, what does this cymbal sound like? What's it going to be like this? And I'm just having the time of my life. And then we finished the set. I'm like, oh, we done? Oh, okay. So I got off, had a drink, had a rest, spoke to some of the fans. They're like, oh, that was really good. I'm like, yeah, thank you. And then stuck around for Kevin Borich. And of course, we finished on a high note, so they had to start on an even higher note. And it was massive. And if you stepped outside, you could still feel the bass like pumping through your chest. It was a really good way to end the tour. So that's probably one of my highlights from being on the road. I think another highlight was actually very local recently. The night before, what holiday was it? Anzac Day. So Anzac Day was a public holiday on Thursday. And so Wednesday night, the metal band that I play in, I've been playing with for about 2 years now. We played at the Crown and Anchor in the city. And it was a Wednesday night.
Yes,
so
know the one.
You know the one? It's a great little spot, especially for bands, if we can keep it alive. It was Wednesday night, so they had their $3 schooners, and it was the night before a public holiday. So this place was absolutely packed. Like, there was a lineup at the door, which I've never seen for this place, to try to get in. And we got up, we played our set, and one of the songs I screwed up so bad that we had to restart it. But the crowd was so into it, we had the best time, and it was just the best feeling that I've gotten from, a lot of gigs around the place. Just the crowd was there, we were there, the energy was flowing. It was just absolutely amazing.
Oh, that's brilliant. To have the actual support of the community while you're there as well, that must have been amazing to feel.
It's a drug. Like, there's no feeling like it. You keep chasing that high kind of thing.
I assume that it will be quite a different feeling, because as a musician, you get to actually play in front of people, and it's in the moment, and it's right there and then. But you're also an actor, which means you have to do things behind a camera, and you don't get necessarily, well, I'm assuming you don't necessarily get like applause after the end of every scene. So how does that translate to the high? Is the high there still when you're acting, or is it just there really in person with musicians and stuff?
No, well, the high is still there, but it's a different sort of high. It's so when with musician and playing in front of people and that sort of stuff, that's a real quick, very intense high. Like, it's right there, it's happening then and there. But when the set finishes or you finish, you have your come down, and so you get off stage, you might chat to a couple of people, then you might go to the bar, get a water, get a drink, and just like decompress. And then when you pack all the stuff up, load all the stuff out, that's when your adrenaline starts to dip. So it's a very quick, very sharp high. Whereas acting, especially for film, you have the high of getting to set, meeting your co-stars, and if they're people you've worked with before, hanging out, reminiscing, and then getting in front of the camera. And it's kind of like it's a more steady, kind of like a steady high, if that makes sense. And it's not so big, because you're there, you're having fun, but you're also trying to be professional because it's a time constraint. You can't really dick around as much as, say, if you were playing music on a stage. But then when you hear those words, Dylan is wrapped, that's when you get like your sort of applause from who's ever around the cast and crew. But the high really hits when you see the final product.
And how is it? Do you go and like watch it with friends and family? Is that the first time you see it when it's the final product, or do you get a sort of like a sneak peek, final glimpse of the product before anyone else sees it?
Normally, I'll see it at the very end with friends and family. If I've helped out a lot of times behind the scenes as well, because it's been skeleton crews. So I've gone in and I've done. If I'm not on set, if I'm not on camera, I'm doing stuff behind the scenes, getting extras ready, helping run lines, or just, building things, just helping out. But if I'm in front of the camera only, I'll wait until the final thing. I don't see anything else. But if I'm, say, like a producer as well, then I see the process a little bit behind the scenes. But there's been times we've had a premiere and we've hired out the cinema and it's been a sellout, and it was great. It was absolutely so good. The final product was amazing. Everybody that was involved was stoked. I hadn't seen it until then. Like I've been sent snippets of what I've done. I'm like, that looks great. You guys are doing great, but I've never seen like the big thing before the actual premiere. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure.
Okay,
so now that we're talking about acting,
yeah,
I do have to ask about Talk to Me. It was a #1 horror film that came out last year, and so many people were talking about it. I know everyone that I knew was talking about it because I am very scared to watch horror movies. I will admit that wholeheartedly. You will not catch me watching a horror movie alone. I will be watching it with all the lights on and cats in like the background feature of the screen. But all of my friends were in love with this movie, and you were an extra on this movie. That's correct.
Yes, I was an extra on this movie. And you're right, it was the #1 horror film of last year, I think.
Yeah, it was released in July last year, almost a year ago.
Yeah. I keep thinking it's like 2022. I'm like, no, it's 24. No, it was absolutely amazing. The movie itself, I saw it at a preview screening for the Adelaide Film Festival. It was so much fun. I got to be, I was on set with a bunch of other people, and a lot of the acting community in Adelaide was an extra on this film. Like, I've spoken to so many people and they're like, yeah, I was in this scene, or I was in this scene and I did this, and that person over there, that was me, or that was my auntie, or that was my third cousin twice removed. As just anybody that could kind of got into it. But the Talk to Me was so much fun working on it, all the way from auditions to final product, and even the after party afterwards as well, which I will get into. But the on set, so I was credited as a predator spirit, and there was about 20 of us, give or take, on this 20 extras on this one day of shooting. And I got there early in the morning. early. I got there at about 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Okay, yeah.
And I was in makeup and prosthetics and everything for about 2 or 3 hours. So they put burns on my body. They did full makeup. Like, they made me look real nasty. And then this was
And then I'm
filmed...
assuming you took a selfie.
Oh, of course, yeah. I think I had 1 or 2 around somewhere. I've since lost that phone, which is really annoying. But I did get a screenshot from a day on set with one of the main actors, with me and a couple of the other spirits, which looks really good. I can send that to you later if you want.
Oh, please.
Oh, I will do. But so went from the makeup area and actually went on set. And so the set was an old abandoned building, that hospital. That's not there anymore. And so I walked on set, and the funniest thing happened when we filled out the audition form. They said on there, if depending on how comfortable you are being naked, like there was different pay rates. So if you wanted to be near on fully clothed, you would get paid less to people who were comfortable being fully naked. And so I wrote it down like, yeah, I'm comfortable with whatever you need. You know, it's all good. Whoop, sorry. And so, my room is falling to pieces, I swear to God. And I walked in and I got shown, he's like, this is costume, go and speak to her. So I went up and spoke to this lovely lady and walked into this costume room, and there wasn't much on there. And I said to him like, hi, you know, here for your blah, 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 costume wardrobing. And she looks at me and she says, cool, how comfortable are you being naked? I'm like, as comfortable as you need. And she's like, brilliant. And she points to a table and says, pick a sock and put it on. I was like, okay.
I pick a sock.
Pick a sock. And
Okay.
the first thing you think of is exactly what it was. These things called modesty socks. And so there was an array of different modesty socks, and there was about 7 beige ones and 1 dark brown one. I looked at that one, I'm like, that is definitely not for me. So I grabbed one of the other ones, walked into the waiting room where everybody else was sitting, and yet, lo and behold, there's me, give or take 19 other people, both male and female, wearing nothing but a robe and a sock.
I'm not sure I can watch the movie now, even just to see you in it.
So that was that day. And we were sitting around for about 8 or 9 hours. And then we went on set and we were filming for about an hour. And then we all wrapped and we all went home and got cleaned up and all that sort of stuff. I had to come back the next day for close-ups of my face. Just don't worry.
Yep.
And I had to do close-ups the next day. So I went in there and done that. And it was a more skeleton crew, so it was a lot quicker and everything. And I got to wear underwear that day. That was a treat. And we wrapped up and everything like that. We went to the screening of it, the previous screening. And my partner at the time was in it as well, doing the same thing as me. So that's me and her wearing next to nothing, and a group of people wearing next to nothing. All basically nothing. And so we went to the screening, had a great time, got a bottle of champagne, sat down, watched the movie, and our scene comes up. I'm like, oh, this has to be it. Anyway, this thing happens, it goes for about 5 seconds and it's blurry, and then it cuts back to the next thing. I'm like, okay, maybe we're in later. So we're sitting there waiting. The film's amazing, we had a great time, then it ends. I'm like, hang on, where were we? Like, where's the scene that we spent like 2 full days shooting? Like, what happened to that? And afterwards, you know, everyone got in the bus and we got chauffeured over to there was an after party for ticket holders. So went in there, had a couple of drinks, and the directors there, the Raka Raka boys, with it, and I'd been chatting to them on set and everything like that, and I saw one of them, and he saw me, and he comes up to me, and he's just like, "Oh, how you doing, man?" He's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry about your scene." Like, I'm like, "Yeah, what happened?" He's like, "Oh, we had to cut it. Cut it real short." I'm like, "That's fine. I know what happens in films. You have to cut it. That's all good." So if you do go and see the movie, you're safe. You're not going to see any part of me. That's all good. I've had a look at it, and I've found the scene, and I've slowed it down, and there's one shot that I could tell it's me because of my nose, and that's it. But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I'm so excited that it was a lot of fun. I still need at least 5 other people in the room with me to sit down and watch a horror movie, so I'll put that on the bucket list.
Yeah, definitely.
But you're currently involved in Caliburn, is that correct?
Yes. So Caliburn is it's a much smaller production. It's a purely self-funded indie Adelaide Australian film, basically being directed and everything by some people that I've worked with in the past. Just doing it's the story of King Arthur being retold again. But with our own little spin, it's like a dark retelling. Some people you're not quite sure what they're doing, and the motives are vague with some of them, which adds to the suspense of the plot.
What's your direct involvement? Are you an actor? Are you editing? Are you doing the music, or all of the above?
Almost all of the above. Now, I was actually going to be doing a song for the movie, but unfortunately the band wasn't really interested, so I had to pull the plug on that, it was a shame. I was really excited to write a song for it, but our band is democracy, and the other ones didn't want to do it, so I was like, that's fine. But I'm an actor, so I'm playing the role of Merlin.
Brilliant. Now that's something I'm going to sit down and watch.
Yes, so I'm really excited for that. Like when we were doing my scenes on set, it was like a lot of fun, and I've seen a little bit of my scenes. I'm like, this is going to be cool. I'm really excited with how I played the character, so hopefully it translates.
And when does this one come out?
That is a very good question. We're getting close to the end of post-production, as far as I'm aware, but we haven't actually got a release date yet. So hoping for end of this year, but I can't guarantee anything yet, because I would tell you, I just don't know.
Where is it going to be released? Is it going to be just predominantly on online services, or is it going to be hosted in some theaters, restricted theaters, or anything like that?
So I think they want to go for a distribution on one of the online platforms, be it Stan or Netflix or something like that, if they can. And they've had discussions with the folks from Netflix, I think, on a different project they were doing. So I think they're going to see if they can reconnect that connection. But as far as I'm aware, they want to do a premiere as well. So have it out in the cinemas, have a night of it, and then see where it goes from there.
Oh, sign me up for that.
Oh, definitely. As soon as it's coming out, I'm going to be putting it everywhere, posting it everywhere. If you'll have me back, I'll come back and I'll talk about it for an hour.
Oh, please. Absolutely. Yes. Come back and talk about it. Anything to do with the Knights of the Round Table, I am there for it, 110%.
Ah, brilliant. Yeah. Well, I think you'd like this one. We've in the audition process, there were the Knights of the Round it was just open to anyone who wanted to come audition, male, female, old, young, it didn't matter. And so we got a really cool, diverse cast, and it really made the stories really cool.
Brilliant. And would you say, what's the most interesting role in that movie that just curiosity, you didn't expect would be portrayed by the person that is portraying it, but they've done such an amazing job?
Oh, well, I don't know about an amazing job, but it's going to sound kind of egotistical and wanky, but Merlin, I never expected me to play the character of Merlin. The original actor that they had slated for it was an older gentleman. He was very perfect for the role of an old wizard. And then I got a phone call from the director one day saying, he can't do it, I want you to do it, but we're going to change the character and I want it to be like this. I think you're perfect. I'm like, sign me up. So I was. So
how did they change Merlin?
So originally he was going to be, an old wizard, as he's portrayed in just about all the media. But now when they got me to do it, he was more of a darker kind of, you don't know where his allegiance lies. You look at him, you're like, is this Merlin or is this the devil? Very vague, very suspicious kind of darker kind of Merlin.
I've got goosebumps now.
Oh, good. Hopefully the film is good. Oh, me too.
I'm all for it. I'm all for this. Are you doing any editing for this particular one as well, or are you just helping out with the acting mostly?
So I was just helping out with the acting. I actually came on board to the project purely as an actor, but just before the shooting commenced, the producer pulled out, and so the assistant director picked up the producer's role as well. And I said to them, would you like extra help? They're like, that'd be amazing. So I actually became second assistant director to the production as well. And the other day, the first assistant director reached out to everyone and said, I know you're all excited and everything. We're almost done. And I know that some of you are editors. If you'd like to give us a hand, let us know. And I haven't yet, but I've been meaning to reach out and say, yeah, I can do a scene here and there if you just need it, cut together. So, long story short, to actually answer your question, just an actor, might be an editor.
Brilliant. Is there a particular something, movie, song, other that you've edited that is sort of like your, oh, I did that moment? Like you're sort of, if you hear it or you see it or you talk about it, you're just like, guess what I did, guys? I did that. And you're just really proud of it.
Sort of my magnum opus, so to say, for editing. That's actually a really good question. I don't know. Can my my video game music videos from when I was 15 count?
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, there was this really good one I done. I say really good. It was terrible. I did when I was. I would have been about 15. I was playing a video game. There's an online game called Guild Wars. And
oh yeah, I know that one well.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. This is OG Guild Wars back in 2006 or something. And I made a video to, what song was it? Louis Armstrong's Wonderful World.
Okay, yeah.
And that, I spent, a month or two on it. I tried to make it perfect. I was doing everything. I didn't know what I was doing when I came to editing, so I was just using Windows Movie Maker. And I'm like, this is all good. And then when I released it and showed my guild and everything, I'm like, look at what I did. This is amazing. I'm so stoked with this. Yes, I did this. Look at me go. So, I mean, maybe that.
Did they have as much appreciation as you did?
Oh, they loved it. Because I got all my guild mates to be in it as well. So they could, I put a message into the guild chat. I'm like, all right, I need 10 people to come to this beach and dance. And like, all right, let's go. And I was like, it was a lot of fun. Yeah, I don't know if there's
Do you still play Guild Wars now?
I played Guild Wars 2 a lot. I haven't picked that up in about a couple of years, about a year. I don't think I've played that. Yeah, no, it's been a while.
Oh, so you missed out on a few patches, hey?
Oh yeah, anytime I get back into the game, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Do you have any particular favorite interview moments? So whether it be on radio, TV, any other platforms, that kind of thing. Has there been a particular moment where you've been a guest on something and you're like, this was amazing, this was a great experience, and you're encouraging the current listeners now to go and check it out?
Well, I mean, of course, this podcast, like right here, right now.
Absolutely.
This is number 1, 2, 3, and 4. But if
that's because you love me so much, right?
Oh, 100%. I've missed you so much.
Good.
We need to do this more often.
We do. I'm available every week, by the way.
Oh, brilliant. Well, if you ever need another guest to come and talk about anything and everything, just hit me up. I'm more than happy to come back. But
all right, so just excluding this one.
If I had to pick my 5th favorite, there's been a lot, depending on what I'm doing, and because I've been on radio, like when I was on tour with the blues band, we'd stop in and do a couple of radio shows, in some of the towns, and they were fun, but it was always because the other guys in the band are 60 plus. So it was always, we were going to community radios, and it was their blues program. And it's not necessarily my thing, but it was nice. But it was always an older demographic, older generation. So I would talk and I'd, say things and that. So it would be nice, and then we'd move on. But I think it was, probably, I had one on, would it be 3D radio? So
3D radio?
Yeah, 3D radio. So for those of you who don't know 3D radio, it is a local community radio station here in Adelaide. It is all about supporting music.
Oh, yes, I do know. Yes, I do know the one.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And I think my favorite interview on there would have been, it was a show they do called Live from Studio 3. And why I think this was so much fun is because it was my band, we had an hour on there, and we'd play songs live on the radio, and then they'd interview us in between each song. So I think that was probably the most fun, because not only did I get to play, but I also got to talk and just riff and have fun with everybody in the room. And it was a really cool dynamic, because we could have friends and family and anyone we wanted in the studio. And it was just so loose and so free flowing that it just felt like chatting to a bunch of people, just shooting the shit. And yeah, I think that one was probably my favorite.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I think that would have been an absolute ball, having all those instruments there as well. That would have been great.
It was a lot of fun. I want to do it again. I want to try to get back in there with my other band as well, which I think would be great.
Are there any upcoming projects or any upcoming music releases, films, anything at all that you're really excited about that you want people to tune in for?
Big things. Well, Caliburn, definitely.
Of course.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the biggest one when it comes to filming. I think is Caliburn. I've got when it comes to music, we've got shows and gigs coming up, but I wouldn't say they're pinnacle. They're great. We want to try to get into a studio to record a proper CD or album and get that out there. So when that happens, that's going to be pretty big. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I've sort of hit the lull in my creative journey. Nothing big is happening yet, but I'm gearing up for the big things. I'm just trying to work towards them.
Oh, of course. And
Yeah.
if I may ask, what kind of inspires you to keep creating across so many different mediums? Because they are vastly different, even though they're all under the same artistic umbrella.
I ask myself this a lot as well. I see people that are amazing at their one craft, and I'm like, I wish I could play drums like that guy, or I wish I could be in as many movies as this guy. But I think the fact is, I've always been a jack of all trades, and I like to have my hands in all the different cookie jars, because maybe it's like the fear of missing out. Like, I don't want to be focused on one thing and then see something else blow up and be like, I could have been a part of that. But I mean, to be honest, I think it's because I just love just about all the different sorts of artistic media. The one thing that I wish I could do is draw and paint and visual arts and that sort of stuff. That's my Achilles heel. I can't do that to save my life. But
well, maybe we should just have a paint and sip, just like a lot of wine with a paintboard, and we'll see what comes out of you then.
Oh, no, I'm down. 100%. We'll tee it up. I'll if we go to a place, I'll bring the wine. I'll get the Makeshift Tavern to supply the wine. You supply the art.
No problem there. Let's do it. I'm all for this. That's TikTok worthy. That is.
Hell yeah, keen as. We'll do it. We'll chuck it up on here. Everybody can watch us, or we'll just get drunk and fail.
Oh my god, that would be amazing. It's going to have to just be filmed live. I reckon that's just what it's going to have to be. And then people can influence us and tell us what we're doing wrong with our paintings, and we'll try to fix them right there and then. We'll see how that goes.
Exactly right. We'll give all the artists and sketch artists and the people who can actually draw, we'll give them a heart attack.
We're going to be responsible for some very emergency phone calls.
Yeah, I think, a little bit. I'm down. I'm keen. That sounds amazing.
I'm so keen. Have you actually had a particularly memorable fan interaction, like someone that maybe you didn't actually expect was a fan of yours that actually approached you and say, wow, I love this is amazing, or something like that? Has that happened to you yet?
It has, actually. So the Makeshift Tavern, it's happened a couple of times with being a part of that. It's happened at the places you think so, like conventions. Like, I think it happened at Supernova or Comic-Con last year. But I think the funniest one was, I was just at a bar with some friends. We were celebrating a friend's birthday, just hanging out. And this random guy comes up and taps me on the shoulder. I turn around, I'm like, oh, hey, how you doing? He's just like, hey, Makeshift Tavern? I'm like, oh, yeah, how you doing? He's just like, I love your stuff. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. What's your name? And I had a chat with him and that. I was like, this is really weird, but really cool at the same time. And of course, when I used to be...
Was it a bit surreal, given that you weren't kind of expecting it?
I was very surreal, because I never expected anyone to think of like the Makeshift Tavern and then think of me. Like, I don't put us in the category of like big and famous, like famous enough for people to come up and recognize you. So to have that happen was actually really surprising. It was nice, like, don't get me wrong. If you ever see me in the streets or anywhere, feel free to come up and say hi. It was a lot of fun, and I love meeting, chatting to new people who are into the same sort of stuff.
So you're all for people tapping you on the shoulder and saying hello?
100%. Doesn't matter what I'm doing, if I'm in the street, if I'm in the middle of dinner, anytime.
Pre-warning to all of those 5 foot and under, Dylan's quite tall, so grabbing onto and actually tapping that shoulder might be a bit of an issue.
Yeah, just poke me in the side of the ribs or something.
All right, next time I see her, I'll do that.
Yes, please do. I think, apart from that, like years ago, when I used to be a cosplayer, I used to get recognized outside of costumes every now and then, but it was never like a fan interaction. It was more of a friendly interaction of, oh, you're Ace Ventura, something. That was great. Oh yeah, cool, thanks. Blah blah blah, and I'd recognize them from something that they'd done as well.
That's lovely. I've always enjoyed the cosplay interactions. Everyone in that community is just so much friendly to each other.
Yeah, it's always lovely. I miss cosplaying. I really do.
So not planning to go to AvCon and cosplay this year?
I'm planning to go to AvCon, but I probably won't be in cosplay, unfortunately.
Well, that's very unfortunate. I used to love trying to spot you in costume because sometimes you would dress as something that is very obscure, and I was just like, "Wait, is that Dylan?" Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And I get really excited. Like your Mad Max one, that was brilliant.
That was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun doing that with that group of people. And for cons afterwards, I upgraded the costume and got the scarification and everything, and it was so much better afterwards. But yeah. I used to love walking around and coming and seeing you and finding you and whatever you're doing.
Am I incorrect in remembering this? Because it was obviously a while ago. Were you the gentleman that had a t-shirt on with the word life on it and you tried to bring in a wheelbarrow full of lemons into AvCon?
Not only did I try, but I succeeded to bring a
Oh my god, that was you?
That was me.
That was brilliant. But as far as I remember, by the time I caught you, you didn't have the barrel anymore. You didn't have the wheelbarrow anymore.
No, so what happened? Oh, this is back in 2017, and I reckon that was my last time cosplaying at a con. And it's something I'd wanted to do for years because it was so stupid and it was so easy. So I got the shirt, I spray painted a stencil with the word life on it, and got the wheelbarrow. And I parked just across the road from the convention center, which was great because I had a ute that was filled with lemons. And so I got the wheelbarrow filled with lemons. I walked in, I bought my ticket. Someone there from the AvCon took my photos, like, this is great, put it up on their social media. I walked through the convention, gave out the lemons to everyone. Everyone had a good time. Nobody was having a bad time. I emptied that barrow of lemons, and then I went back to the ute and I filled it up again. And I walked back in, and about 2.5 hours after I arrived, a volunteer came up to me and said, "You can't be here. You can't have that." I'm like, "What?" They're like, you can't have the wheelbarrow here. You need to go put it in cloaking. They're like, "We're not kicking you out. You just can't have the wheelbarrow." I'm like, "Yeah, that's fine. I'll just take it back to my car." Okay, so I'm getting escorted out, and I'm making fun of the whole situation. I'm walking around. I'm saying things like, "When life gives you lemons, life gets kicked out of the convention," and this sort of stuff. And people are coming up and they're like, "Oh, can I have a lemon?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, go for it." And volunteers like, no, you can't have that." I'm like, no, let him have the lemon, and that sort of thing. And so I took it back to the car, put it on the back of the ute, and I had a bag with me, and I snuck about 5 lemons into that bag, and I had a jacket on. So then I became like life incognito, and I was walking up to people that were friends of mine that I'd bump into or see, and I was just like, "Hey, you want some lemons? I got lemons for you." And yeah, that was a story of life. And I found out afterwards that there were these pieces of paper, these signs popping up on the auditoriums and the rooms that were saying "No lemons allowed." And I was like, "This is amazing!" Like, I was just innocently sticking it to the man. Like, it wasn't my intention whatsoever, but it was a lot of fun.
So more or less, you haven't lived until there's a sign put up because of something you did, and you literally had that moment.
I had that moment. Like, it was one of my proudest achievements in cosplay, I think, I would have to say.
That's fantastic. All right, I have to ask this question, just a fun question.
Oh, definitely.
If you could collaborate with any artist, creator, actor, singer, whatever, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Oh, does it have to be one?
I will allot you 2.
Oh, 2. You are so generous. Thank you so much. Oh, wow.
But it can't be someone you've already collaborated with.
Oh, don't worry, I haven't collaborated with many people, so this should be easy. You put me on the spot. Can one of them be a band?
Oh, you're bending my rules a little bit, but okay.
Well, I mean, if you'll allow it.
I'm so curious. Go for it.
So, I would love to... Actually, now I don't know if I want to use one of my tickets on this guy or not. Like, damn it. So I would love to, I would love my band to support, play a gig with one of my favorite bands growing up, called Disturbed.
Oh, I love Disturb, but yes,
Yeah.
I now approve your choice. I approve your choice.
Oh, good. Thank you. Thank God. I would love to play a show for them. I'd love to open for them. So I guess it's not necessarily a collaboration, but I mean, if they'd let me drum on one of their songs, or if we could get their singer David Draymond to sing on one of our songs, that would be I'd be in heaven. That would be absolutely amazing.
I can so see you drumming along to Land of Confusion. I'm so completed.
Yeah, that's one of the songs that I used to chuck in the headphones and jam to. Land of Confusion. That and
So
10,000
good.
Fists. But that,
yeah, of course.
that would be amazing. But yeah.
So who's the other person that was drumming around in your mind back there?
I had a couple. Musically, I would love to learn from. There's a drummer. He's long past now, but his name is Gene Krupa, and he's famous from the drum parts from a song called Sing 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 by the Benny Goodman Trio. And you probably wouldn't know the name, but if you ever type it in and listen to it, as soon as you hear the horns at the melody, it'll tweak with you. You will know it because you've heard it somewhere. And he was a well-known drummer, and he was when I was learning to play drums and when I went and studied music, he was one of the big ones that I learned about, and loved his stuff and wish I could play jazz like he does. So that would be really cool. But I mean, in saying that, I'd also like to learn from the late Taylor Hawkins, the drummer from Foo Fighters, and I don't know. I don't know if I can pick a second one. It's hard.
You have a list. That's okay. You can have a list. That's okay.
Yay! But yeah, so there's. I don't know. I just want to collaborate with everyone. I just want to collaborate with everyone, big, small. I just love creative people and doing creative things together.
Amazing. And speaking of that creativity, do you want to give a quick blast exactly where everyone can follow you, on what socials, things like that, just so that they know this is for this, you got gigs coming up here, your band is called this, where can everyone follow you?
All right. So there's a few things, so just bear with me. Let's start with the Makeshift Tavern. So on YouTube, you can find us at the Makeshift Tavern and at the Makeshift Tavern Gaming. On TikTok, we are the Makeshift Tavern on TikTok and Instagram as well, the Makeshift Tavern. Pardon me. My bands, so Abolished is on Spotify, YouTube Music, and Instagram, and so that's Abolished the band on Instagram, and then if you just look up Abolished on Spotify, it comes up. We've only got 2 songs out at the moment. One's called Visions and one's called Modern Idea. My other band is called Baron Von Duty, also on Instagram, and I think that's everything. That's all the stuff I'm involved with. If you want to follow me personally, I am Mr. Rius on Instagram and TikTok, but I don't post anything on TikTok.
Brilliant. All
yeah.
right. I will make sure all of those links are posted in the description. So send me everything so I can make sure they're all there and everyone can follow to their absolute heart's content.
I will do. Yes. There's an earful, so I don't expect you to remember that all, but I will send them to you after this.
Okay, absolutely no problem. And thank you so much for joining us today, Dylan. It's actually been a real blast hearing all about the amazing projects and, of course, getting to know all about your various ways that we can follow and listen along with you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me on here. It was a genuine pleasure. It was as soon as I found out this was a thing, I jumped on the opportunity to come and have a chat.
Oh, brilliant. And for any listeners that are still currently listening, as you may or may not know, I am opening up a giveaway. The only way to participate and possibly win in that giveaway is to put in the secret code word that I will be stating in one of my podcast episodes. And this is that episode. So if you want a chance to win the... Shh, don't tell anyone. I'm kidding. If you want a chance to win, make sure you put in the code word. Dylan's going to love this. It is actually mysterious.
Hey! That's great.
Listen off to Dylan. Of course, the word is mysterious. If you put in that word into the giveaway, which will be launched tomorrow, you then have a chance at winning some really cool, amazing. Honestly, there's actually a lot of things that you can possibly win. There's a list.
That's so good. And Minxy is going to sign every single one of them purely for you.
Oh my God. Well, thank you for joining me. And Chaos Crew, be sure to check out Dylan's work and the Makeshift Tavern and everything else along the way. Stay creative, stay geeky, and most importantly, stay chaotic. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.